gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades.
Hey, what is happening, everybody? Good morning. I don't usually do these in the morning like this, but I've got one of my favorite guys on the line here. Mr. Frank Marino is joining us today from Montreal. Hello, Frank. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay, Jeff. How are you doing?
Good, man. Good. We had a few moments real quick to catch up there before we went live. And the first thing you said to me was, I'm playing again. And I was aware of this, but why don't you tell everybody out there, like, what's been happening regarding that? Because when we last talked, which would have been April of 24, I can't even believe it's that long ago, you were really unable to play at all due to a left hand injury, a left finger injury. So tell everybody what's been going on.
So anyway, the tendon of the finger is, healing slowly, and I'm able to bend it. I couldn't bend it. I couldn't bend my index finger properly, and anybody that plays guitar knows that that's the one finger that has to be bent all the time.
Right.
It's on the E string or whatever. If you're playing chords or you play G7 or whatever, like that has to bend. And so the fact that it couldn't bend was really, really stopping me from playing what I can play, and have to play flat. Have to keep the fingers flat and play like weird.
Okay.
But gradually, with massage and creams and all that kind of other stuff, it's gradually, time is healing it, basically. So now I could say I bend it like 80%.
So when did you notice a major change in it?
It was not major. It was just slowly, really slowly.
Okay.
A little more every day, And so now when I play, I can play I can play whatever I can play, like normally, but some of it hurts.
Okay.
So I don't.
Right.
If I have to really shred at 1,000,000 miles an hour or something, that's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna play slower. I'm gonna I don't know. I'll do my Eric Clapton.
Well, tell me a little bit about, as I kind of quickly mentioned to you, a buddy of mine that's a big Frank fan hit me up, I don't know, maybe a month and a half ago. He goes, isn't it time for your annual Frank Marino call? And I thought, yeah, we're kind of past due. And because we kind of done it every April. And it's been a lot going on my end with my health and stuff. And it kind of slipped my mind, but it was always my intention. And he sent me a link, a Facebook link. And it looks like you got your gear, your pedal board, or your smaller pedal board, I should say, your smaller pedal boards. And you're out in a park somewhere. Now, is that, you did actually a live gig with some friends, maybe?
Well, no. What it was there's a girl that puts on a party, a jam party every year. And, she's really into that, like getting people together to play. And I was invited to go and be part of it.
Okay.
And I really didn't know if I was going to go, because, my hand and everything else. And then I said at the last minute, it was literally, the party was at 2 o'clock, and at 1:30, I said, you know what, I think I will go. So I threw my little pedal board together and took a little tiny amplifier, 112 amplifier.
Right.
And went over there, plugged in, and ended up playing for 5 hours.
Wow. 5 hours? Like the whole time?
Yeah. I just kept kept on playing.
Man, dude. And was that the first time?
Different people would play the drums and the bass
Right.
and the other guitars and the vocals and stuff like that,
Were you doing a lot of?
I just tried to fit in,
Was it a lot of covers, or was it a lot of Frank Marino stuff, or what?
Well, there was covers. People would do, well, you know what they do at these jams? They'll usually go do blues tunes,
Sure. Easy stuff, easier stuff.
Kind of like a very boring way to do a jam.
Right.
But then I called out a few like I had my older brother playing bass at one point, and this guy that we know named Mike playing drums, and I could call out chord changes to them, and we played a bit of Poppy, and we played a bit of Rock Me Baby, and some of my stuff.
Okay.
But not exactly like as if I'd had my band,
Right.
Just sort of cover version of it,
I could have swore
I just wanted to fit in. I just wanted to fit in with whatever anyone was playing. They were playing Stones tunes. They were playing all kinds of stuff.
I could have swore I heard you doing in memory of Elizabeth Reed. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I started fooling around with that.
Yeah.
Like it's just wherever it goes.
Yeah, just hanging out with dudes and jamming.
I even did Amazing Grace.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Well, how'd that feel at the end of it? Were you sore, and did you feel pretty good about getting out and doing it?
No, I was. It's not 100%, but it will be.
Okay.
It will be 100%. So I'm gonna try to get out and do a little bit more.
Well.
So I put this board together, and I put this little amp together, and there's some local cats that get together and do stuff like this.
Okay.
And so I'll just go be part of what they do, and just tell them, do your thing and let me sit in and fit in, as long as I'm not like the center of attention.
Right. Well, yeah, that's probably. Well, I guess that's a good question there. I mean, did that give you the itch at all, or because it's been a long time since you've done like a tour. I mean, it was you were supposed to go out, and then the pandemic hit, and then you
well, I can tell you really, Jeff, I'm never going to really tour again.
Okay. That's kind of what I figured.
They say never, but I mean, at this moment, I'm not gonna tour again, and for many reasons, not because I can't.
Right.
I can. I really can, and I have a lot of offers to tour.
That's what I was going to ask you, actually. Yeah.
But no, really. I mean, I have an agent that calls me regularly.
Wow. Yeah.
I can get you this. I can get you that. We can go here. We can go there. You can go for 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But I'm not so sure I want to tour because of the way things are, the cost.
Yeah.
This is not the same world
Nope.
anymore.
No, it's not.
Everybody's kind of crazy too. It's like
Yeah.
a little bit crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is very frightening, and in particular here. I mean, the world is kind of like that.
Well, that's where I tour.
Yeah, of course. You'd come here into the bastion of insanity. I get it.
Yeah. So I'm just not sure that I want to. But more importantly than any of the insanity is the cost.
Yes.
Like the costs have gone up like
crazy.
Oh, like crazy. Like what used to cost, 30 is now 60. What used to cost 50 is now 100. It's everything's like really, 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 really up there.
Yeah, I went Friday night.
Gas, the price of everything, man. It's just ridiculous.
Exactly. I mean, Friday night, this past Friday night, on a last second moment, I decided to go see Dream Theater. Are you familiar with Dream Theater?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never played with them, but I've seen them.
Like Mike Portnoy and John Petrucci, those guys. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure Petrucci's a huge fan of yours. I don't know that for sure, but I'd bet on it. But I hadn't seen them in about 15 years, and Mike's back with the band. I thought, you know what? It's probably going to be the last time I get to see them. And I went to pull the tickets up for a nice little theater in Pennsylvania. I live between Philadelphia and Harrisburg, kind of out in the Amish country area. and they were playing Reading, Pennsylvania, because
theater I played? Was it the theater?
not Sellersville. No, it's not Sellersville. That
Okay, all right.
you always played Sellersville. That's a nice little theater too. A little bit bigger than Sellersville. Probably, I think Sellersville's 9 to 1,000. I think this place was 17.
Okay.
Yeah, a place called Santander Performing Arts Center, right in the center of Reading, Pennsylvania, which is a weird place to start a tour. But John, all the guys live fairly close in either PA or New York, so I get why they started there. And I went to get a ticket, Frank, and the tickets were $112. Now, first time I saw Dream Theater, granted, it was 1994. I think the ticket,
and that's low.
And that is low. You go to arena, it's double, triple, quadruple. Slayer. I'm sure you've heard the band Slayer, the thrash band. I know they're probably not your thing, but I know you've at least heard of them.
Well, it's not that they're not my thing. I'm not crazy, about going to metal shows.
Mm-hmm.
But I love metal people.
Well, that's a great.
I love the people that play in metal bands,
right?
And the fans of metal bands. They're very, very real.
Yes, very much so.
And that's what I love about it.
And
I have a little bit of a hard time
with the music,
sometimes with the speed of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The speed of the drumming. Being an ex-drummer myself.
Yeah. Yep.
But I love the people. The people are great. That's in all the world of music. Metal musicians are the coolest guys.
Well, I don't want to say.
Sometimes you can't tell the difference between them and the crew.
Well, I want to segue a minute there because I was going to do this a little later, but it's very interesting because I want to say this was back in October of last year. I saw a picture of you. I can't remember whether it was on his Instagram or the band's Instagram, but you were hanging out with some metal dudes. You were hanging out with Fredrik from Opeth and Michael.
Yeah, I love Fredrik. He's great.
He's awesome.
They're all great. All the guys there are great.
And Dan Mongrain was there from Voivod too.
That's right. That's right. We were there to watch the band, and the band was fantastic. And it was fantastic.
What do you think of those? What do you think of those vocals, though? The death growls. Is that not your? I wouldn't think that'd be your thing.
It's not my thing, but it's a thing. It's okay. Like
okay.
It's for me. It's like as long as the people are cool, then I'm cool with whatever music they do.
Okay.
That's the most important thing for me is the camaraderie.
How did that get set up? Have you been in contact with Fredrik did they reach out to you or what? Okay.
He wanted to buy pedals from me and stuff.
Okay.
But they've been fans of my band for a long time.
Yeah. Fredrik in particular, for sure. He's on the Zakk level of Frank Marino fandom. There's no doubt about it, right?
Yeah.
He's a sick.
And he's a great guy. He's a great player. More power to them.
He's a sick player, absolutely. Michael's fantastic too.
Michael too.
Yeah. I saw that and that made me like excited. I was like, oh man, that's awesome. Frank's hanging out with those guys. Have you hung out with Zakk much in the past or ever when he's
come through?
Okay.
He comes through the city, like we go and we say hello and stuff like that, He likes to call me the pontiff.
Well, that's Zakk. Zakk calls everybody Father Vive, Father whatever, Father. Zack's a hoot, man. That guy is hilarious. Oh my God, he's funny. What a good dude. And
he's a great dude. And his crew is great. And his band is great.
Oh yeah.
All the people. That's what I mean.
Great people.
In groups like that, when you can't tell the difference between who's in the band and who's on the crew, you're dealing with great people.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I agree.
I love people that are real like that. I really do. And to me, that's way, way more important
Yeah.
how good they can play an instrument or whatever. And more power to them if they can. But what's more important is the personality.
Yeah, and it's kind of a reflection of you, because you were always like a real one. You know what I mean? Not you are a real one. I mean, the stories I've always heard, and unfortunately, I'm probably never going to get to see you live in the flesh. But never say never, like you said. But I always heard that you're like just the most personable guy. You come out after the show and you sign everything and you take pictures and yeah.
Yeah, like the agent that calls me for the gigs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he calls me up with these really, really great offers and, sounds like decent money and everything like that. But then he says stuff like, and then we can do the VIP tickets.
Right.
And I'm like, no, not doing that.
Right.
No.
Yeah, you were never about that shit. You were never about that.
I'm not doing no VIP tickets. He goes, why? I said, listen, if you make some people VIP, you make the rest of the people LIP, less important.
Yeah. Wow.
There's no way that I'm doing that, there's no way. I've met everybody and signed everything and taken every picture for whoever asked me since I was 13 years old.
Did you do that at but would you do that
I'm not going to all of a sudden start charging people money for that.
Yeah, just because that's the model now. That's the model, is to do these VIP meet and greets.
That's how they're making up the difference with all the expenses. And that's why I'm saying, because I won't do that to make up the expense difference, that's why I can't tour.
Yeah, wow.
They're only doing that. They're not doing that because they're greedy. They're doing that because there's no other way to make any kind of money.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
they're not bad people that are like, we're going to charge a whole bunch of money and be mean. It's not that. These days, you want to tour, you have to sell merch. I don't sell merch.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to have VIP tickets. I won't do VIP tickets. Right? You have to do all these things in order to break even.
Yeah, yeah.
But to me, to go out and do all this just to break even and then come home doesn't make any sense. I mean, I love playing, but I can play here.
Yeah, yeah. No, it makes total sense. Makes total sense.
If I play here, what's the difference if I play here or I play 4,000 miles away?
True.
I'm still playing.
What, have you ever thought about doing that? Like doing a hometown gig in a Club Soda or something like that, where people come in to see you? Now that's going to cost a lot of people, but that's the decision of the person. Like I would probably fly up.
Again, you're putting people in a bad position. Like you're saying, I'm only playing in one place, and now you got to fly in and you got to travel here. And it's like those people that do those. What do they call that stuff when they go to Las Vegas?
Residencies.
Yeah. That must be really great for the artist because they get to stay in the same place and play on the same stage and all the time. All the time. But think about the people that have to travel and spend all kinds of money, and it just doesn't seem very fair.
Yeah, and that really kind of brings up a big point about you as an artist and as a human being. You never were really about that angle, the whole showbiz money angle of things. Because you told me, I believe the last time we talked, or it might have been the first time we talked, that you never really ever even saw a royalty check out of.
No, I don't make any money. I don't even own a house.
Yep.
I rent.
Yeah.
I'm not the guy that came away from the business with tons of money. I came away from the business with tons of respect.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that that's way, way better than money. Other people made money on me, that's for sure. Okay, like I know some people that got very rich.
But, yeah, I'm sure.
You know what? I'm going to be 71 years old in November. I got this far. I started at 14.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yep.
I've been doing this a long time, man.
Yeah, you have. You have. You're a survivor. You're still here. You know, and you went through some pretty harrowing, weird stuff very early on in your life. But
I did.
We kind of covered all that. We don't need to get into that. One of the, I got a bunch of little questions here and there about various things. But before we get into those things, and then I had a little exercise, and you can say yay or nay, thumbs up or thumbs down. But rather than go through, which we already kind of did in the first time that we spoke for 2 hours, I want to keep you in that hour zone. I don't want to overextend my goodwill here, but I had an idea. Rather than sitting here and going into each album and pulling out new questions about each album, I thought what I might do is pull one track from each album and have you just give like an anecdote or a comment. Would that, like, what you remember? If you don't remember anything, just be like, yeah, I don't really remember what I
probably don't remember, but go ahead and try.
All right. Well, I just thought it might be an interesting thing to do, like where the riff came from, what the idea was, if you remember, and if you don't, you don't. So, or maybe what the techniques in the studio might be. And I have a little bit of something to say about each track to maybe jog your memory. But before we get into that, I did want to say before we when we first met the first time, you were just getting Frank Marino audio pedals off the ground. In fact, you didn't even have a website yet. It was just an announcement that you made that they were coming. And you made the funny statement to me that Ryan, your assistant or your right-hand guy there, kept telling you, don't keep saying a couple of weeks because we're not ready yet, right?
Yeah, that's me.
But now you get excited, right? You get excited, you want to do this thing, and it's it's going to be a cool thing. But at that point in time, you wouldn't even tell me the names of the pedals. When we flash forward to last year, April last year, you had the three models. You had the Juggernaut, you had the Dragonfly, the Juggernaut, and the help me out.
I'm up to 9 now.
Oh, you're up to 9. Okay, so let's talk about this.
There's only 6 on the page. The other 3 are coming.
Okay, can we talk about the 3 new ones that came out in September? Crying Moon, help me out with the rest of them.
So you've got Crying Moon, which is basically an envelope wah-wah. So the harder you hit, the more it wah-wahs. It's an envelope filter.
So it's an expression pedal?
No, it's a pedal. Like you press the button and it works.
Okay.
You don't move your foot or anything like that. It's like an auto wah.
Oh, so it's more the attack on the string? Yeah, okay.
Attack.
Okay, all right.
And it really, really works well. And you can actually, because I design a lot of these things, so you can see me use that if you've got the DVD.
I do.
Or even I think on video we have something's coming our way on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. I'm showing.
At one point I'm playing and there's a wah-wah sound while I'm playing, but I'm not standing at a wah-wah.
Okay.
So that's the pedal.
Yeah.
That's the Crying Moon pedal.
Okay.
And the other pedals.
Sus 4?
Well, the Sus 4 is a really, really cool pedal.
Yeah, I love the sound of it.
It's think about having sustain without needing fuzz.
Mm-hmm.
So it's using compression techniques, but you don't hear it as a compressor. Usually when you have a compressor pedal, you have a ducking effect.
Yeah, that enveloping, modulation.
And it goes, and it disappears,
right.
All that stuff. There's 0 ducking on this. Like that's called overshoot.
Okay.
And there's 0 overshoot. What you play, and it comes out. But it opens up, like when you hold a note, it opens up like 60 times. And the sustain is great. So now you can play slow stuff and hold notes till they die.
Mm-hmm.
They will die eventually.
Sure.
But really long after. So you can play like horn lines and stuff, You don't have to go da-ba-da-ba-da, da 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 da. You can go da 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 da.
Okay. So it's a sustainer in a lot of ways. It's a sustainer compression. Okay.
Sustainer.
Okay.
It may be using a compressor to be a sustainer.
I got you.
But it's particularly a sustainer, and it's a really great effect. It's the kind of, you really notice it when you turn it off.
Okay.
You turn it off, you go, oh my God, what happened to my sound?
Right.
But it's very subtle. When you turn it on, you think, well, I don't really notice a difference. But when you start waiting on notes, that's when you notice the difference.
Right. Mm-hmm. I got it.
It uses very little current, and it's a really great pedal. I leave it on almost all the time.
Well,
at this point now.
So then what's the third one then? I had it up, but I can't see it now like an idiot.
Yeah, the third one I'm trying to remember myself.
Hang on, I'm gonna pull it up here because I'm gonna pull up Frank Marino audio. Give me 1 sec. Sorry about that. All right, here we go. There it is. The Juggernaut, the Dragonfly. Where are we at here? Come on now. Frank Marino audio. Because I don't know why I'm.
Maxim, Juggernaut, and Dragonfly were the first three.
Right. Here we go. Here we go. Universe.
And Universe.
Right.
That's a chorus.
Ah, that's the chorus. Okay.
Yeah, it's a chorus. It's a really great chorus.
All right.
It's an analog chorus. It doesn't sound like a digital chorus.
Right.
It's very subtle. It sounds like a Leslie. You know, like it's really a nice chorus pedal. And the interesting thing about that chorus is with the latest three pedals that are coming, that are going to be advertised, one of those is a tremolo.
Ah.
Vibrato.
Right.
So the type of vibrato you have like in a twin reverb, you know? Like,
yep. That real spring reverb.
Yeah, but it's not the reverb, it's the vibrato part. Okay, so think, I don't know, Crimson and Clover.
Yes.
Think James Bond.
That real shimmering effect. That shimmering effect.
Yeah. And I find that if I run the vibrato and the chorus at the same time, and I run the vibrato at a certain speed and a certain strength, the two of them together make a great univibe.
Ah, there you go. Yeah.
So you're getting a univibe effect without needing a univibe.
Interesting.
That's one of the extra three pedals is the vibrato.
Right.
The other two are a delay, a purely analog delay that goes from very quick, back slap,
right,
to almost a full second.
Wow. So
delay.
You get that swell, that super swell.
Yeah, and the great thing about it is this particular delay, when you play, it gets out of your way. It doesn't like make a bunch of noise, it's really, really nice to play, and you don't even notice it till you stop playing, and all of a sudden you hear the repeats.
Yeah.
It's really, 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 really nice that way. And the third pedal is called Finish Line. By the way, the delay is called The Answer.
You're tricky with these pedal titles here, Frank.
Yeah, and the tremolo, the vibrato is called Novelty.
Okay, from Child, right?
Yeah, and it's called The Answer and the other one, the extra pedal. What was I saying? It was now.
Yeah, you said there's Novelty, The Answer.
Yeah, it's called Finish Line.
Finish Line, off of Who's Next.
And it's what it is it's a boost, okay?
Right.
It's got a full EQ, bass, mid, and treble. A really, really nice EQ. And you put this last. You put this just before your amplifier. So you can make the amplifier sound like some amplifiers don't have a lot of bass or a lot of mid or a lot of treble, or they have too much of something. This can really tailor the input to what you're sending to the amplifier. It's a boost EQ. And it's got 20 plus 24 and minus 24 booster cut on all the frequencies, including the volume.
Okay.
So it's a really great addition to have. And that, in fact, makes the 9 pedals. Now, I'm building another one, which isn't part of the 9, which is a high octave.
Okay.
But that's not ready yet. That's not ready yet.
When do you anticipate putting the adding the next 3 pedals to the line?
Within the next couple of weeks.
Oh wow. Okay. Ryan's gonna yell at you now.
No, it's for sure.
I'm kidding.
It's
and
for sure. We're going to put them out there. There is one problem. There's one major problem.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah.
What's that?
We can't sell to the U.S.
Oh, because of the bullshit tariffs?
Yeah.
Man, don't get me started.
Of all the times for this to happen, right?
Okay.
With these tariff things, the price would become so ridiculous.
Yeah.
That nobody would buy it. So we decided to just not ship.
Jeez.
I don't want, even if someone says to me, Frank, I'll pay the extra tariff. I don't think it's fair. I'd rather not ship. I'd rather wait to see if they come to an agreement. We're always hoping they're going to make some kind of trade agreement or something, right?
Yeah.
Like, who knows? Maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I can't ship. I can sell to the U.S., but I can't ship to the U.S. because if I do, then someone's got to pay that tariff. Yeah,
and what is it right now? Like 50% or something stupid?
It's like 35 minimum.
Yeah.
And then if the pedal's made of aluminum, there's 50. It's a really weird, complicated situation.
Oh man.
It wasn't there before the 29th of August.
Yeah, what a mess. What a mess. Don't get me started on that.
Yeah. On the 29th of August, everything went nuts.
So it all just switched over here in the last week or two.
Yeah. So we can sell to the world.
Mm-hmm.
There's one guy that called us. He's from Florida, and he wants the pedals. And he said, well, I'll give you an address in Canada to send them to. He's got a friend in Canada who's going to come down and visit him.
Oh, and bring them along.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
I said, we can ship to Canada. We can ship to anywhere. We can ship. If you're in Texas and you're by the Mexico border, we can ship to Mexico.
Jeez, what a mess, man. God.
But it's, it's really a drag. But listen, what can you do? This is what happens with governments. They play these games and trade wars and all this kind of stuff. It's beyond me.
It's pretty absurd
to comment on it, but it's all I can do is wait and hope that cooler heads prevail.
Well, let's move on. Move on. Because I'm kind of an that guy. So I wanted to ask you. So we got 6 pedals in the line right now. You're adding 3 more in the coming weeks, but right now there's some flux with this tariff situation. So hopefully, like you said, we cross our fingers.
Yeah,
and
there's a notice, by the way, on the site.
Okay, yeah, I have the site up.
People go to the site. There's a notice to U.S. customers.
Yeah, I have the site up.
Explains the situation.
Yeah, I have the site up, and that way people can look. And the site looks great, by the way. Really, really well done. Very stately. It's not, bells and whistles. It's just very well done. So I don't know who your webmaster is. Maybe is it Ryan? It's Ryan. Well,
Ryan.
Give him 2 thumbs up because he did. And if I'm not incorrect, is Ryan Billy's son?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I wasn't sure because I thought you mentioned that. And I'm like, Billy. Oh, wait, it's that Billy. Okay. I can't. How do you say his last name?
Kozlowski.
That's very, very Czech. No, what is that? Polish?
Yeah, it's Polish.
Polish. Okay. Um, yeah, and you're still, I guess, Billy's still around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still around. We still hang and talk, and here I am playing with his son.
That's awesome, man. Let me ask you this. Did you ever think about building an amp in the vein? My guess is you probably thought about it, but the overhead and the cost to get something like that up might be too prohibitive. But have you ever thought about doing an amp line?
Yeah, well, my amp that I use, I built.
Exactly.
Now Ryan's always telling me, why don't we build your amp for people?
Right.
There's one problem with it. It's a tube amp, and it uses power.
Right.
And the law says that if you build something that uses 110 volt power from the wall,
Okay.
you have to become UIC approved or ULC approved.
Oh, yeah.
You have to go through all these approval stages, and that costs like 10 to 20 grand.
And takes time. Yeah.
And takes time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could build the amp, but they would say that I can't sell the amp.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Unless I pay them their cut.
Yeah. Always.
Isn't that usually the case?
Always the angle, right? Always where's somebody profiting off of you. Yeah.
Right.
And you would need to sell, the price point would probably be pretty intense, I would imagine, to get out of the red or the black, to get into the black, I guess.
Well, it would be, but it would be an amp.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't just be a pedal.
Right, right.
And if you want to know what it sounds like, just listen to the DVD.
Yep, it sounds fantastic. Did you hand build that entire amp, or do I remember you telling me it was an acoustic that you modded?
No. The acoustic was way in the 70s.
Oh, that was way back when that you modded that.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So you built your own amp and head.
I started building them in the 80s.
Okay. All right. I couldn't remember exactly, and I didn't. I went back and watched some of what we talked about, but I didn't watch every specific minute, or I would have taken 3.5 hours. So, and sometimes I run on at the mouth. And one of the questions I had for you, and going through the book again that comes with a DVD, which I'm showing, by the way, right now, you can order this from Frank's website. It is 6 hours, man. It is comprehensive, mind-blowing stuff right here at the Agora. We already talked about in episode 1, which I will link in the description. We talked about the painstaking process that Frank had to go through, 7 years worth, to get the drum tracks up to speed on this thing. But it's super well done. Fantastic audio, fantastic video too. Those guys did an amazing job.
And by the way, just so that you know, the video, the DVD, is not subject to the same tariff.
Right. Anything under $800 is...
No, that's gone.
Okay.
That whole $800 thing is gone.
Oh, it is now?
Yeah, it's gone. But the reason that the video is not subject to the tariffs is because it qualifies under another trade agreement.
Like educational or something like that? Or
No. It qualifies under the NCUSA.
Okay. Wow. Did you ever think you'd have to know all this kind of stuff?
Yeah, I didn't. I really wished I didn't have to know all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I bet.
But at least I know the video, the DVD can be sold to the U.S.
Well, going over this book again, after a year and a half of stepping away from it or whatever it was, one of the stories in here that kind of blew my mind, and I looked on the first video that we did to see if I'd asked this. If I did, oh well, I'm asking it again. But you did an opening slot with King Crimson.
Yeah. I'm very young,
and that blows my mind. Like, I can't imagine you. Excuse me, my hair. I can't imagine you being the long-haired hippie flower child guy of the '60s that you were, and Robert Fripp coming in, Robert Fripp was old when he was probably 20. You know what I mean? Like he just seems like he was already a 75-year-old man at 20, right?
Yeah, well, he was actually sitting on the stage.
He always sits, yeah. And
Right. Yeah.
what was your take on that? What do you remember from that? Anything specifically?
Well, I was pretty excited by it because I liked the band.
Okay.
You know, I grew up liking the band,
Mhm.
21st Century Schizoid Man and everything else. You know?
Sure.
So for me, it was like a real cool thing to say that I was, you know, opening a show for them, and then I get to see them, you know, from the side of the stage, type of thing. That was really cool.
Do you remember where you played?
Yeah, we played at a university here in Montreal.
Like a seated theater, part of it, or in the gymnasium? Okay.
Yeah. It was a seated theater. It was called Cégep Saint Laurent.
Wow. How about that?
I'll always remember it.
That's pretty cool. And I guess you jammed with their drummer, which I would imagine would have been Giles, right?
That's what ended up really cool. Was that after the show, we all went to this guy's house, because in those days, you know, you had hippie houses and stuff like that where people hung out and jammed.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I mean, what else were you going to do? There was no phones. There was no AI. There was 3 channels on TV.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Sure.
Basically, you got together at people's houses and you jammed. And he showed up with us.
Michael Giles, I think, right? Michael Giles?
No, I think it was Bill Bruford.
Oh, it was when Bruford was with him then? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And we jammed in the basement. And I remember thinking, wow, what an amazing player. Because I was a drummer, too.
What year was this again? This was early 70s, right?
Yeah, very early 70s.
Yeah, so it might have been the first when Bruford had just joined them then, because he wasn't on the first 2 or 3. I think he didn't come in until the 4th album or the 5th album. I forget which one it is, but that's pretty wild. I just saw that story. I'm like, man, I got to ask Frank about that, because that's just the juxtaposition of Fripp with all these Canadian hippies just makes me laugh, you know.
And I always remember they used these Mellotrons.
Yep. Yeah.
It was the first time I had seen anything like that.
Okay, so that's the first time you had an experience with that, because you ended up using them a few years later then.
Yeah, that's why I ended up using them, because I saw them with King Crimson.
Right. Was the first time you used them on 4, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And I think you said you rented one, because they were pretty expensive for back then to buy one. Yeah.
Super expensive. I couldn't buy them.
And I know, if I read stories or maybe heard Fripp talk about the fact that they had to have 2 of them. They had 2 of them on tour because they would break down so readily that you had to.
Oh yeah, they were very, very, very finicky.
Touchy. Yeah. One of the other things I wanted to ask you about was the Lieber Krebs decision to jump in with that. And I don't even know if it was so much as a jump in or as it was just sort of a circumstantial, maybe I better do this thing. With looking back now, and I don't know, are those guys still alive?
Yeah, they're still around.
Okay. Can you talk about that, or would you prefer not to?
What do you mean, like signing with David?
Yeah, was it? Would you look, because in the book you actually talk about that? I don't really like this dude. I'm not really feeling this guy much, and you grew to kind.
No. It was when I first met David. He would walk into like I'd be opening for Aerosmith or opening for one of his bands.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd just walk into the dressing room and talk like in an arrogant way.
Okay.
And I didn't like him, but I ended up really liking him.
Okay.
I ended up becoming very, very good friends with him.
Are they
It was just one of those things where at first I said, who is this? You know, like he was like Mr. Establishment and I was like Mr. Anti-Establishment.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But then I found out he wasn't so establishment. He was just sort of putting it on.
Okay.
Know?
Yeah.
But he's actually a really cool guy.
Now, is he about your age or a little older?
Oh, he's older by at least 10 years.
Oh, so he's in his 80s. He's my dad's age.
Yeah,
Okay. I would imagine he's probably retired, though. I would guess,
Yes, he's retired.
or handed it off to kids or whatever the business, because they were pretty huge back then. I mean, they had a big stable of guys. You know, the Nuge thing we've already talked about, but Nugent and Aerosmith in the '70s was clearly one of the biggest U.S. bands out there.
Right.
Did you by chance did Joe Perry Project play in Montreal recently? Do you know?
I heard they were,
Okay, so you didn't get out to the show then.
but I didn't get out to them. They actually opened for me once.
Joe Perry Project.
Yes.
Wow. How about
They
that?
actually opened for me in Canada.
Well, it's
I think we were in Quebec City or something like that.
yeah, it's kind of a super group now. It's Joe with Chris Robinson from the Black Crowes, Robert DeLeo from the Stone Temple Pilots. I'm not sure who the drummer is, and of course Brad Whitford from Aerosmith. So it's kind of more of a super group one-off thing that Joe wanted to do because Aerosmith has kind of done it, would appear, with Steven. So although Steven sounded,
but I noticed that Steven came out for Ozzy and sang pretty
he
damn well.
sure as hell did, man. I thought he was pretty freaking mind-blowing to me, man. Not sure what's going on there.
Maybe they're getting back together.
Perhaps. It's funny. You look at Joe Perry, and he's a few years older than you. I think he's 75. He just turned.
Yeah, they're all a little older than me.
And Joe still looks like the eternal 22-year-old. He still looks like I mean, he looks like he's healthy, but it's like he's always had that look like he was doing 8 balls of coke before you ran into him, you know? But he's still got the rock star vibe going on big time, man. I mean, it's pretty crazy how that worked out for him.
Steven does.
Yeah, and they did all right. I mean, they did all right financially through the whole situation. But so you look back on the decision to go with Lieber Krebs, pretty. You have a good vibe on it now, or what? Because I know
I had a good vibe on it then.
Okay.
When I talked about not feeling strange about David, is like before we got together.
Okay.
Because there was at least a year where we just happened to be opening for his band, and I would meet him, but he wasn't our manager or anything like that.
So yeah, he was just coming backstage and kind of giving you ideas about what you should be doing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought that was like really strange.
Yeah. Well, he was headhunting you, is what he was doing. He was sniffing you out a little bit.
Very astute person.
Yeah.
He's very astute. He knows rock and roll very, very well. You know.
Well, it sounds like you got a lot of opportunities through that management company in terms of, especially in terms of touring. Yeah,
of course.
One of the other things I wanted to ask about that I know I didn't touch on was that you actually played in Japan. I was not aware of that until I might have missed that the first time I skimmed the book. And how that was 79?
I think it was
7, 8, somewhere like that. Yeah, 78 maybe.
Yeah, it could be. It was back then.
And what are your memories of that?
I loved it.
Yeah?
I loved it. And Marty Friedman lives there now, and I speak to him regularly.
Oh, do you really? Nice.
Yeah, and he he's like very well ensconced there. His life is there now.
Oh yeah, he's a superstar over there in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But he's also a very deep part of the culture too. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not.
He got some of my pedals.
Did he really? Oh man, that's super cool, man.
Yeah.
That's nice, man. I mean, it must feel.
Zakk has some too, but I don't know if he's used them.
Who? I'm sorry. Who?
Zakk.
Oh, Zakk Wylde. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting question. I have a line to Zakk now. Interestingly, you came up, and I'm going to send you the video with timestamps so you can watch it because it's funny as hell. I was with Kirk Winstein from the band Down, which is Phil Anselmo from Pantera, Pepper Keenan from Corrosion of Conformity, and we were on his bus. You know, it was not a bus. It was one of the small I'm sure you've traveled in these. They're almost like a big sleeper camper, sort of like with the beds in the bathroom and the kitchenette and all that stuff. And we're hanging out, and really it became Kirk's 11 months older than me. So I'll be 60 in March. He's 60 now. And we're talking about all these different things. And somehow we start really leaning into the 70s, right? Because we're both kids and that's our era, right? And out of the blue, he says, and Frank Marino and Mahogany Rush live. And Frank, it's funny as hell. Watching it back afterwards, I almost laughed out loud. I literally jumped off the bench seat and went, dude, that's the guy. And I'm like, we got to talk about Frank. I said, Frank is a friend of mine. And I feel I can say that. I said, Frank's a friend of mine. We've talked a few times. He's been on my show. I'm going to be getting him on again soon. And he goes, oh, man, how's he doing, man? How's he feeling? Like, I know he wasn't playing. I said, I got to check in on him because it's been about a year and a half. I got to see what's going on. And Frank, I'm not lying. We just nerded out on you and Mahogany Rush for at least 10 minutes. It was kind of embarrassing in a weird way. It's like I'm watching it going, I'm back to being that 13-year-old kid I was when I first heard Electric Reflection. So your reach, and this, I know you're very aware of this, that your reach in terms of, in specifically guitar players, is pretty legendary in a lot of ways. I know that you're a very modest guy and you're not that guy that gets off on tell me more, but it really is true. It's just funny. I talk to, mostly it's guys our age, either your age or my age, or in around that, a lot of kids probably, but then the kids learn about them. Like my kid learns about you from me because I play you on the stereo and they're like, who's this? And I'm like, this is Frank Marino. So how's that? Like, how do you process that?
I'm embarrassed.
Right.
I get embarrassed by it. So I say thank you. Okay. In the old days, I used to go, oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Then I just learned to say thank you.
Yeah, you're just a humble guy, which is very cool.
That's the quickest way to make it stop.
Like
I just say thank you.
Like I have a pretty strong feeling that if I ever got up to Montreal, which sadly I've not been there. I've only been to Canada once, right at the falls. But I have a feeling if I let you know I was coming into town, you'd probably meet me for a cup of coffee. That'd be freaking cool. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. Look, I'll tell you something. This is true. 98% of the people in my phone book that I'm friends with,
mm-hmm.
were fans.
Exactly.
They've started as fans.
Yeah.
And we met and they wanted an autograph. And then I said, well, here, take a phone number. And, they got to know me as a person.
Yeah. Which is really important. Really important thing there. Yeah. Couple other quick ones here, because I don't want to keep you all day. I never knew this thing about the first pressing of World Anthem, that they actually sent it out without a jacket and an insert, not a jacket,
without the insert.
The insert thing. Yeah. Tell that story real quick.
Well, because I wrote the World Anthem musically without words, but I wrote the words.
Mm-hmm.
But I wrote them in quarter notes so that anybody could sing them in any language. And I wanted them printed in every language of the world.
Mm-hmm.
But the record company wouldn't do it because Russian was one of the languages, and they wouldn't do Russian.
Cold War stuff at the 70s, yeah.
Cold War stuff, yeah. There's always this. Let me ask you something. Why does politics always get involved in our business? Either it's getting involved in our business or we're getting involved in its business. I don't think the two should know.
Yeah, it's. Man, I mean, you know what just happened here in this country 2 days ago.
Yeah, I heard it's terrible.
And, we are a gun culture. We're a warring culture. And I'm going to come off sounding very anti-American here. And that's not the case. But we kind of assume, or not even assume, we kind of demand that the entire world sort of revolve around us as America, the political system, you know what I mean? And the main reason for that is obviously because we're a quote unquote nuclear superpower, right? So
but there's a lot of nuclear.
no, but no, there is. But what I was getting at is that we've always been as opposed to walk softly and carry a big stick, you know, Theodore Roosevelt era stuff. Now we walk loudly and try to carry a bigger stick, and that really is unpleasant to me in a lot of ways. So,
but you know what I think, Jeff? I think there's an expression, and I think it works well. The expression is, "This too will pass." Like all things pass.
yeah. George Harrison.
It bends one way, then it bends the other way, then it bends back the other way. Everything eventually passes, you know, like you have to, patience is a virtue because it takes virtue to be able to wait out.
To be patient. Yeah. It's, you know, it's there's
an old expression, don't ask God for patience because he takes his time about giving it.
Yeah. You know, God's an interesting concept that I want to end on if you're okay with that a little bit, because
I'm very okay.
Yeah, I'd like to pick your brain, but I want to get to the end of these questions, and then I want to circle back to that. So I promise we'll kind of end on that, because I know you have you have a very devout belief in God, and I'm not there, and I want to have a dialogue about that at the end. So, another one that I wanted to talk about was in Tales of the Unexpected. I didn't realize or know, and I don't recall you saying this before, but you actually had a different album pretty much ready to be mixed before that album.
That's why it's called Tales of the Unexpected, because we ended up with different stuff.
Like totally different songs and totally different.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
And so that was all on 2-inch tape back then. That wasn't digital. So it's gone.
That's
It's
right.
gone.
That's right. Say what?
Like that's gone. There aren't even demos or anything like that.
I don't know. I'd have to search the archives.
Yeah.
To see, you know.
How different was it? Do you think? Now, obviously, there were 2 covers on Tales, and I had to.
It was going in the wrong direction. It was going in the wrong direction, and I just didn't like it. And it was like, I said, "Oh, let's start over."
Wow. How much tracking had you done at that point?
Quite a bit, you know. But the way that my albums always worked, from every album to every album, was that we would get to the studio with nothing, and then I'd write the song that night.
Right.
And show it to the band. And so that was a series of nights where things just weren't to my liking.
Okay.
You know?
Funny,
so on and so forth.
Funny kind of story there. Unfortunately, I never got to see you live, but when I lived in Houston, Texas, which is where I discovered you, okay, I live in Pennsylvania now. We were down there for 4 years when my stepfather got a job down there for a while, and then my mom demanded we move back north. We were in San Antonio somewhere, and you had a pretty big following in San Antonio, as I recall. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And somewhere in a store, because I know I didn't go to the show because I'd have been 13, 14. I got this Frank Marino Mahogany Rush Tales of the Unexpected t-shirt. It obviously was a bootleg, I'm sure. But it was that cover art. And I would kill, not really, but I would metaphorically kill to have a t-shirt like that. Now, you just talked about the fact that you don't really merchandise much other than the pedal business, which is a separate thing, and you have some CDs on your website. Have you ever thought about doing some runs of t-shirts? Because I know they'd sell, Frank.
We thought about it, but it doesn't pay.
Really?
Like, it doesn't make sense. Unless you get a company to do it for you and give you a little royalty.
Okay.
It makes sense. But if you've got to make the shirts and make the art and ship the shirts and all that stuff and keep them at a reasonable price, you You know, I mean, I think a reasonable price for a T-shirt is $25.
Yeah, and they're creeping up at that Dream Theater show the other night. They were $45 because the venue and Live Nation, which owns practically every venue in the States anymore, maybe even abroad, I don't know, they are taking 25, 30, 35, 40%, which is absurd. It's just absurd. I just wondered about that. I know you did have a shirt at one point in time that was the logo from the live album.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen them anywhere.
You have my permission to take whatever logo or picture and go to a T-shirt maker and have yourself one made.
Really? Well, I make my own. I have my own, and I'll get you a T-shirt for the show at some point. I got to print them a new batch of them off, but I do want to send you one of those. Another month or two, I'm going to be getting a batch in. So I do have a good source on screen printing that does a killer job. But he's not a fulfillment center. In other words, he'll print all the shirts and send them to me. And then, like you said, I got to ship them out, which is.
Yeah, what I'd like to have a company do all my merchandise.
Right, fulfillment.
Give me a small percentage and let them take the lion's share.
Well, there are.
You know, like, that's the best way of doing it.
Yeah, for you, it probably is because you're not moving thousands of units a month or something like that. You move 25 or 20 or something like that. And that you're right, that to have that, not dead stock's probably the wrong word, but to have, you know, to order 100 T-shirts to get them at like $3 or $4 a piece and then mark them up to 25.
Store them,
right.
And then ship them.
Right.
And carry them.
Right. And you got,
oh my God.
Yeah, you got, but I don't know though. I mean, you know, you're kind of doing it with the pedals, sort of. Kind of.
Yeah, but pedals are two inches by 5 inches.
That's true.
They're not gigantic packages.
Yeah, that's true. Because if you have somebody that buys
on the road with 500 T-shirts, you need a truck.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you need people to do it, and then you need people to sit at the table, and then the house takes 30%. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, when
you're doing it for nothing.
Yeah, when you were touring, before you stopped touring before the pandemic there, when you had the medical issues and stuff, are you saying you really didn't take merch on the road with you?
We had tried it a couple of times and found that it just wasn't worth it.
Okay, I see.
To have to go through everything and carry it and move it around.
Would your wife be
percentages? Yeah, and the percentages that the house would take and everything like that.
Right.
It just wasn't worth it, man.
Was your wife your merch person then? Was she doing the merch?
No, she was my road manager.
Oh, she's your road manager. Okay. Interesting. All right. Gonna wrap with a couple things here. I didn't also know this one. I didn't know that you toured with Triumph. That was kind of maybe.
Yeah, of course.
Was that towards the end of the Mahogany Rush sort of era before you transitioned to Frank Marino?
No,
or was...
we didn't tour with them, like do many dates, but we ended up on dates with Triumph.
Oh, I see.
Some festivals.
I see. And they're kind of like you. They're very, you know, I've met Rick. I've hung out with Rick. He's one of the nicest guys ever. And very much like you, kind of, I don't want to say ego-less, but he's got an ego. We all do. But he's very personable and approachable and very real, you know.
Well, he's Canadian, eh?
Hey, that's it. Yeah, that's true, man. I met Alex and Getty, same deal, you know. I mean, it's
Canadian, eh?
it pretty much is that, you know. My friends, we talked about Dan Mongrain. Dan's a good buddy. He's been on the show a bunch of times. He's a lovely guy. So, what do you remember from Triumph? Anything specific, or was it just a few dates?
No, just a few dates. You know, usually I think on a couple of festivals and some dates that were actually shows. But I just remember a lot of lighting.
Oh yeah, a lot of lighting, a lot of smoke and flash pots and lighting. Which I know that wasn't your thing. You were not the showman guy. Yeah. But they did put on it. That's another band. I had tickets to see them. They would have been my third show. My first was Kiss, because that was that era, talking about shows. And then my second was Rush in 1980. And my third would have been Triumph on the Progressions of Power tour. But I mouthed off to my mother, and she tore my ticket up. So
there you go.
there you go. Big
To your mother.
me and my big mouth. But yeah, I mean, actually, I'm going to be having Gil come on here pretty soon. They're promoting a kind of a covers album by all kind of other artists. So Gil will be coming on. It's pretty cool. All right, just this last one or two things to hit here. I had your guitar player Mick Lane on. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I know.
Real nice guy. Really nice guy.
Yeah.
Sweetheart of a guy.
Great guy. Good player.
A lot of great things to say about you, man. He's, he looks up to you as a mentor and really was like, man,
Well, we're best friends too. So.
Yeah. Well, tell Mick I said hello. I'll send him an email with this. I'm sure he knows what's going on. But it was really lovely having him on. He was such a Canadian, just a kind guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with the band Cryptopsy. Have you ever heard of them?
Oh yeah.
So Matt, do you know? Yes, Flo Monnier. Do you know Matt, the singer, Matt McGackie?
No, I don't know them. My nephew Mike knows them all.
Well, here's the weird thing. I believe he is, and this is me just speculating, but he's doing a project he told me about, and he brought up one Danny Marino.
Yeah, that's Danny, my nephew Mike's brother.
That's okay. And I think Danny plays in the band The Agonist, which was where the singer...
Yeah, which is no longer.
Oh, they're done. Okay.
Yeah, they're done.
That was where Alyssa White Gloves, the singer for Arch Enemy, came from.
Now
so
she's with Arch Enemy.
Right. Now, Matt told me, he didn't tell me in so many words, but I think he was signaling, because when we got to the end of the thing we talked about, I think Matt's singing on a project with Danny. That's just a speculation there. I don't know for sure because he wouldn't confirm or deny, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Are you close with Danny? Do you ever see him?
I don't think Danny's doing much now except being a dad.
Okay.
But Matt might be singing with Mike.
Well, maybe that's what it is then. Maybe it's Mike then. Okay. Is Mike a guitar player?
Mike is a bass player.
Oh, he's a bass player. Okay, maybe then that's what it is. And I asked you this before. Your younger brother Vince, is he still playing?
Yeah, he still plays, but he's not playing out or anything like that.
Okay, all right. And you had an older brother, right?
Yeah, Norman.
Right.
He plays bass and guitar. Yeah.
And does he still play too, or?
His main gig is that he plays in a Grateful Dead cover band.
Ah, nice. In Montreal?
Yeah.
Do you get out to see those guys?
They're called Boko Maru.
Boko Maroon.
Maru.
Maru. Okay.
Boko Maru.
And they just do Grateful Dead covers.
Grateful Dead. It's all Grateful Dead. They're deadheads.
That's pretty cool, man.
Deadheads are.
I sure do. I was never one, to be honest with you. I don't dislike them. I just am kind of like, they're kind of for me. They're just kind of one of those bands. But
Yeah.
All right, so here we're gonna do this thing. We're gonna switch real quick into. I have one last question. If you had to pick one of your albums, just one album, it can only be one album, that is your favorite album that you feel really encompasses. It can't be the DVD live thing, because I know that's what you're gonna say. What would you say is in your opinion, your creative? What you're most proud of?
Oh wow, that's tough.
I know.
They're so different, There's Eye of the Storm. I always loved Eye of the Storm. I love 4. But I love Strange Universe. I love Child and Novelty.
Man.
There's so many. I can't honestly can't answer that question. On a different day, I'm going to give you a different answer.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like picking your favorite kid or something like that.
It is.
You just, you birth these things, and then, it's like, well, today Junior's pissing me off, so it's it's the other kid, but you know what I mean. But all right, that's fair enough. I say the DVD because it's got songs from all of them. Exactly. It's kind of that's why I say it. It's kind of the culmination of your career, kind of encapsulated in that one thing. Let's do a quick lightning round of songs, and then we'll talk about the God thing real quick. Okay. So I picked a song off of each album. We'll just go through rapid fire. The song Madness from Max Zoom. This, of course, has some Electric Ladyland-ish vibes, but it's a very pretty song. It's got a real kind of ballady vibe to it. But do you remember anything specific about that song? I know it was a long time
I
ago.
remember something very specific about that song. I remember that my solo, which came before the song we're about to mention, is almost the same as Hotel California.
Oh wow, man! I didn't even notice that. You're right, actually.
I can listen to it
because I just did this morning. You're right. It didn't even, and I usually hear that kind of stuff, but now that you say it, you're right. It's got that vibe to it, doesn't it?
It's Hotel California.
So Don Felder, you owe Frank Marino royalties. I'm just saying. Sadly, you didn't reap the rewards that Don Felder did from that song.
No, sadly.
Okay, next album, Chains. And I don't know if we talked about this is the first episode because I can't. This has always weirded me out. Chains of apostrophe S pace. What does that mean?
Okay, it's a play on words for change of pace.
Oh, okay. But it's got the space vibes.
Space.
Okay.
Because it's a spacey song.
Right, and in that song, there's a ton of backwards guitar. Were you using, was the technology there to do reverse guitar stuff, or were you doing that in the studio with tape?
I was doing it in the studio with tape.
That's what I figured.
But you'll notice on the DVD I do it live.
With a pedal, though, right?
Well, it's kind of a technique that I developed. That I'm playing the lines backwards with volume control, and it's sounding like it's backwards.
I'll have to go watch that again.
When I do Are You Experienced, I do the same thing, and I do it in He's Calling.
Okay, I will go back and watch that. I usually pick up a lot on your nuances, but I didn't pick up on that one there. But that's a super cool. Anything jump out at you about that song that you recall that's pertinent?
Just that it's spacey.
Oh yeah. Yes, if you do
That's why it's called Chains of Spacey.
And the funny thing is, the funny thing is you weren't, by this time you were long past doing drugs, so it was.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they wore off.
That's true. We've discussed that. Yes, I get you.
Yeah.
But this is a good song if you like to partake of the evil devil lettuce. This is the stuff here to listen to. All right, let's jump to possibly, man. I mean, I better not make that statement. I was going to say possibly my favorite Mahogany Rush song, but like you said, that could change day to day. But definitely in my top 3 is Tales of a Spanish Warrior.
Okay, mine too.
Man, that song is so killer. The guitar lines. What do you remember about that song and in creating it? Anything specific?
I don't really remember doing it. I remember because I played it with Mick live.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember more of that.
Right, because it's most recent. Sure, yeah.
But going way back into the days when I created it, it's hazy, it's hazy. It's 60 years ago. It's a long time ago.
Well, what kind of board were you? Was that a tempo that you did that one?
Where did I do? Which album is it on?
That's off of Strange Universe.
Yes, that was at the second tempo.
And do you remember what gear you were using? Outboard gear? I mean, was that a 16 channel? Was it?
It was a 24.
It was a 24. Okay, so you did a lot of layering in the mix phase to get all those guitar lines across.
Land of a Thousand Nights too.
Right, that's on that album. Yeah, that would have been my next pick off that album. But man, I love Tales that down, down. It's just such a killer track, man. How about It's Begun to Rain? You really bring the jazzy. Not that you didn't have jazz on the first 3 albums, because you do, but it's this on It's Begun to Rain. It's kind of one of your, I think, signature songs. Clearly on the DVD, it's one of the high points for me because it's just so. Your playing is just, pardon my language, fucking amazing. It's so good. What do you remember of that? What was the idea? I mean, I know that we talked about this before in that you were a hard sell because your albums weren't linear. They weren't all just one sort of blues rock track.
Box of mixed chocolate.
Exactly. And this song in particular is like really throwing kind of a curveball to the whole thing because it's a purely jazzy, beautiful ballad. Do you remember anything specific about writing that song? Like what the maybe
yes,
what
I remember doing it very well because we went to a different studio to do it, and I used the Mellotron.
Yeah.
I got to use the Mellotron, so I remember doing that because of the Mellotron.
And they had one there at the studio?
No, we rented it.
Okay. Was there a muse for that? Was it your wife? What was the?
No, it was
just a ballad.
It's a two-part story. It's a part about personal relationships, right?
Right.
One's relationship with a woman and one's relationship with God.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
It's a two-part story.
And you'd already kind of had that awakening developing for quite a while before you got here to 76, right?
Yes.
Okay, we'll get into that in a minute here, because I really do want to touch on that. But off of World Anthem, you kind of alluded to World Anthem, and that was written, I believe, for a contest, right?
It wasn't a contest. I had written it to try to submit it to the 76 Olympics.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it was actually to the Olympics then.
Yeah, I thought it would make a great track for the Olympics, but it would obviously have to be done by a symphony.
Yeah, and you had written that
for guitar.
You had written it for a symphony, right?
Yeah. So I wrote it for the Olympics, but I never ended up submitting it. I should have submitted it, but I got so caught up with the problem with the record company not wanting to print it, not wanting to have it, all the troubles I had with the record company, I just never submitted it to the Olympics. I should have. Well,
it's a beautiful track, and I love that album. It's like right in my top 3, probably with Tales and with 4 and Strange Universe. That's kind of my sweet spot. I like all the other stuff, but those are my kind of, and Juggernaut, of course. But the song that blows my mind on that album is In My Ways. Man, that song is like a heavy metal track in all the facets, except for that it's not a metal track, if you get what I mean. It's just
it's early metal.
Yeah, it's proto metal, exactly. It's just so cool. That riff is so killer. Any memories on that one, where that came from, or what prompted it?
Like every other one, I got into the studio, wrote a tune. That was it.
And you never wrote. You wrote predominantly in the studio as you were recording?
On the night of the recording.
Wow, man, that's just...
There's only there's 2 songs I can think of that were being played before recording them. One was Strange Universe.
Okay. Because why?
We just didn't work that way. We were always jamming.
So a lot of the songs
We're the original jam band. We
okay.
didn't have a set list.
Right.
It wasn't like a set list. Okay, guys, let's go play these songs. Let's go play and make stuff up.
I mean, and it was usually you leading the way with a riff or a rhythmic idea,
exactly.
Okay, right.
Lead the way with a riff. That's how Dragonfly was made. That's how Juggernaut was made. All of them just lead the way with a riff and call out the changes.
Wow, that's incredible. And that's also the sign of really good players, because you're doing it all by feel and by ear. You're not charting it out. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the track that got me into Frank Marino, the penultimate moment that I was like, what the F is that? And that was Electric Reflections of War. What was that all improvised and that built off of itself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's totally improvised, and it's basically what the title implies.
Sure.
It's electric reflections of what the world is doing.
Right. Yeah.
It's not pretty.
Nope.
It's not meant to be pretty, but you'll notice that it goes from being very violent to being nice and soft after, and we play a Little Town of Bethlehem, and
Serene.
play the World Anthem.
Yeah.
You know, it's good. It's softness and goodness coming out of darkness.
But it's harrowing in spots. You know what I mean? It's when you get those volume swells where I'm assuming you're using a volume pedal and maybe even using your control or your volume controls. You get those wah, wah. They're just like you can almost feel the machinery of war. And I said this in the right, and in the first interview I told you that the first time I heard of you was my buddy Eric, and I cannot remember his name anymore now, the last name, but he was jamming that song when I walked into his bedroom. And I'll never forget his mom. I banged on the door, and his mom opens up the door. I'm like, "Hey, is Eric here?" And she's like, "Go back there where the noise is. It's not hard to find it." So I go back there, and I open up the door, and Electric Reflections of War is playing. I look at him. I'm like, dude, I don't think I was using the F-bomb in sixth grade back then, but I probably would have said it had I was like, dude, what in the hell is this? And he's like, Frank Marino Mahogany Rush. I'm like, that's it. It's over. And I bought, I went out and got Live. Tales of the Unexpected, the song itself, was that the tones on that song are just sick. And it might be some of your fastest playing. The solos on that song are.
I think my fastest playing is Moonwalk.
At the end there, where you're.
Yeah.
There's some crazy shredding going on there, but I mean, what are you using on Moonwalk that made it give it that weird envelope filtery sort of sound? Do you remember?
I used an Eventide instant phaser.
Wow. I didn't even know Eventide was around back then.
I think they were. So
it's a phaser, but because it has a bit of a wah sound, but it's not really a wah. It's more like an like a harmonizer.
Well, I'm using everything.
Okay.
Not just an instant phaser. I turn everything on. It's on 10.
That's true. You did have a reputation for having the most sick boards out there, right?
Yeah, like my boards went to 11.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. What do we got here? Something's coming our way off What's Next. That's a beast of a track. One of your kind of signature tunes, would you say?
Yeah, I love it. Interesting story about that song.
Mm-hmm.
We were recording the ending.
Mm-hmm.
And when it goes up and up and up, and then there's this high note.
Yep.
That ends it.
Yep.
Well, we had to punch in that high note.
Oh, yeah?
Because we blew the amplifier up.
During the recording?
Yes.
Wow.
Just when I got to the last note, the amplifier literally exploded, and all the paper from the capacitors was all over the room.
Oh, my God.
Popcorn.
That's crazy,
so we
man.
had to get another amp, and it wanted to blow up, too, so we had to hold a screwdriver in the fuse. And we have to get to the punch point and say, "Okay, go play the note."
Wow, man!
Play the note again.
Now, when you say punching that in, are you you're overdubbing there? Are you actually splitting tape at that point, or no?
Well, what's happening is the engineer is starting the tape,
right?
And when it gets to that point, he pushes the red button, and when he pushes the red button, you play the note,
and you're overriding whatever was underneath, right?
Right, exactly.
Right.
And then the other guy is holding the amplifier and turning it on because it blows up again.
Man, that is insane. That's pretty wild. I mean, and was that at tempo too, or where'd you record that one?
That was at tempo.
Did you do most of your albums there once you started to record
them?
Yeah,
98%.
Okay.
98%.
Is that still around?
I believe it is, but I don't think they do albums there anymore.
Okay.
They do jingles and stuff.
TV stuff, things like that, yeah. All right. Stories of a Hero, which is really kind of the big centerpiece track on Juggernaut. Very storyteller. I always think that beginning section reminds me of like sort of a Robin Trower or something like that. I'm not sure why, because it just
Reminds
does.
me of the Doors.
Or yeah, that would work too. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the any particular? Was that just you in storyteller mode?
Yeah, I'm in storyteller mode, and I'm doing two things at once. I'm lamenting the situation for these soldiers,
Right.
and I'm honoring them at the same time.
Any particular soldiers you're thinking about, or just soldiers universally?
Well, in those days, we were talking about the Vietnam War and
Okay.
kind of places.
Okay. All right. That's one of my favorite songs, and your lead playing on that is just, it's just otherworldly and to me. Ain't Dead Yet from Rock and Roll.
Oh, everybody loves that.
Oh yeah, it's a slamming tune. Slamming tune.
Yeah. That's what people call one of the early shredder tunes.
Yeah, because you're going off on that song, man. It's just disgusting. Anything jump out about that one recording wise, or?
Well, basically, the words say it all.
I'm still here.
Yeah, we're still here, even though, because we were fighting with the record company.
Right.
Everything was a fight with the record company.
And that was because you weren't a marquee artist for them, or what?
No, it's because I wouldn't knuckle under and do what they wanted.
Ah, okay. You were a rebel.
Yes. Oh, was I ever?
Oh, I know. We've definitely talked about that. I mean, I don't even know that I remotely know the extent of it, obviously, but you were never that compliant manufactured artist. You were always a true artist.
I said black, I said white.
But see, that's not very Canadian, though, Frank.
No, but when it comes to my music and my art,
no compromise.
I wasn't going to let anybody tell me, why don't you do this?
Yeah, no compromise. Yeah.
Yeah. There's only I've produced every album I've ever done.
Right. Yep.
But there's only two producers that I would have liked to work with if they would have gotten them for me.
And who was that? I don't think you ever told me this.
One would have been Quincy Jones.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And the other would have been the Beatles guy.
Oh, George Martin.
George Martin.
That would have been an interesting combination. Wow, man. Imagine doing something on the...
I would have worked with George Martin, where I would have worked with Quincy, I would have deferred to their ideas.
And why would that be? Just because of their success, or that you really...
No, because I have immense respect for the work they do.
Okay, gotcha. Wow. Yeah, Quincy, that one I don't hear as much, but I see why you would do that, because the guy did so many amazing albums throughout his career. But George Martin would have really been cool. Imagine a Sgt. Pepper's, like, working with you on something like that. Not like it, but you get what I'm saying, like in that vein of experimentation.
I had immense respect for him.
Yeah, because you were an experimenter in the studio.
Wouldn't hire me a producer like that. They wanted to get me one of their guys because everything was always payola,
Well, here's a crazy question for you. Do you remember which album you got the biggest budget for, and can you say what that was?
No, the budgets were all roughly the same.
Okay.
But I remember they didn't want to put out the live album.
Well, yeah, because it was supposed to be a double, right?
Yeah, they made it a single. We were always at odds. Jeff, we were always at odds. From the day I went there, I would finish an album on a Tuesday, and on Wednesday they'd say, so when's the next one coming?
Oh, man. Yeah, that was the era of churn and burn, right?
It was, we were always at odds.
It does blow my mind when I think back to the 70s, how bands literally often would churn out 2 albums a year, which is, and then you got to factor in all the touring that was going on there. Yeah. The music business was very much a machine at that. That's when it became a machine versus maybe a decade before.
Which is why I left it.
Yeah. A couple more quick ones here. Razor's Edge from Full
Yeah.
Circle.
That's political.
Yeah, and it's a catchy song. It's got a real kind of earwormishness to it, I think.
Yeah.
Now here at this point, you're pretty much more or less a solo artist at this point, right?
It's hard to explain this solo artist thing. There's never really been a difference between me as a solo artist or me as Mahogany Rush.
Right.
Because Mahogany Rush wasn't actually a band. It was an idea.
Right.
It was like saying the Alan Parsons Project.
Right.
So it didn't matter whether Jimmy was playing or Paul or Timmy or Joey. You know, I had so many people that played with me,
Mm-hmm.
and the music was always the same.
And you were the guy that was essentially.
So the record company did not like the idea that it was Mahogany Rush.
Interesting.
So they were into like promoting names like Ted Nugent,
right?
And people like that, right?
Robin Trower.
They wanted me to change it to Frank Marino. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep to the project, which is Mahogany Rush.
Right.
My compromise was, okay, call it both.
Yeah, and that started on World Anthem, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Right, right.
And that started to create all kinds of confusion. And the next thing I know, I do an album, Power of Rock and Roll, and what do? They go and they do their own cover.
Yeah.
Which I had nothing to do with.
Yeah.
And they call it Frank Marino.
Yeah, that cover's so kind of weird and not you.
Yeah, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, I bet that wasn't.
So the next album, I have to call it Frank Marino. Because now they've changed it to Frank Marino.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm so upset with it that I leave the company.
And that's when Full Circle came out?
So with Full Circle, I keep it Frank Marino, but I'm not comfortable with that because I'm doing gigs and I'm seeing Frank Marino and Mahogany Rush at the gigs.
Right.
So it became Frank Marino sometimes, it became Frank Marino and Mahogany Rush sometimes, it became Mahogany Rush sometimes.
Yeah, depending on how they wanted to market you or try to market the shows.
It was so all over the place.
Yeah.
Par for the course. And finally, when I did the DVD, I said, just make it Frank Marino.
Yeah, man, you've had it.
It's funny because on Dave's drums, it says Mahogany Rush.
I saw a comment somewhere. Might have been on the video that I can't find of you, the outdoor video, that recent video that you played, because that was only a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone said Frank was always too nice a guy to be in the music business.
That's possibly quite true.
Yeah, I think it might be. All right, we'll wrap up with 3 more tracks quick, and then we'll get into the God thing, and I'll get you out in in 10, 15 minutes. And I don't mean to be disingenuous by calling it the God thing. Just referring to it. Sky Symphony, which includes Town of Bethlehem, right?
Right.
And was the first time you started doing that? Was that a live thing always, right? Because you never recorded that.
Yeah, that was always a live thing. I actually did it in church once.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I did more than just Little Town of Bethlehem. I did all the Christmas tunes.
Your church there at home, I'm assuming you mean.
Yeah, the First Noel and Little Town of Bethlehem and Good King Wenceslas.
Wow.
I do all these. I do all of them like that.
It's
the Herald Angels.
When was that recorded? What year was that recorded for the double live? Do you remember?
89.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Could be 88, 89.
And I believe that's that. No, I don't believe. I know that's on the DVD. Then you do a pretty elongated version of it.
Yeah, I love that version.
Then from the hip, you got The Walls Came Down. Was that about Russia or Germany? I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
See how the wall came down. See how they crumbled. You know, like it's as I said to you earlier, this too will pass.
Mm-hmm.
Everything passes, including the wall.
True. Empires build and empires die. That's the reality of it.
Empires crumble.
Yeah.
Mountains tumble and empires crumble through sister change.
Mountains tumble into the sea, but there will still be you and me. That's where's that line come from?
I don't remember.
Led Zeppelin. Thank you. I believe. I think. And then the last one is Avalon from Eye of the Storm. Talk about, because this was your last album, Eye of the Storm, 2000 or 2001. Yeah.
2000 something.
Yeah. And that had been in the making for quite a while, because I think you said you recorded it
since '93.
Yeah, that was wild to me when I remember finding out about this album. I don't exactly remember how. It might have been around the time the internet was kind of just starting, because I think you only sold it. Did you only sell it through your website initially, or through an online thing?
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
And I don't remember if it was a while.
It got on just in time.
Okay.
It got on just in time.
But
Avalon is an interesting tune because it's going back to my earliest days where I would try to do a jazzy sort of rock.
Yes.
You know, and use an organ.
Okay.
MP3.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of I don't know. I mean, there's the really long track, which I can't remember the name of it. He's Calling, I believe.
Yeah.
Which I would imagine is about God, I would assume.
Yes.
But Avalon has more of the epic kind of feel to it, in that it's sort of like, it's almost progressive in a lot of ways, almost like a proggy song. Yeah.
It is. That's Frank doing his box of chocolates thing again.
I gotta ask one thing. That actually my friend John Good, who's the guy that bugged me. Well, he didn't bug me. He just put a fire under my ass and said, "Hey, you need to contact Frank." And I'm like, Frank doesn't want to talk to me. He's like, no, you need to contact Frank. You do great interviews with him. Contact him. So John, if you're listening out there, which I think you are, thank you for poking me a little bit. But he asked me, and you mentioned this in our first interview, that you have a ton of recorded material, and you even mentioned that you have a whole bunch of pop songs. What are you just gonna, I don't know how to put this any more delicately, are you just gonna sit on them forever, or?
Well, I've got them done, like half done, and I have to find someone else to do them.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I don't suit them. They don't suit me.
You're talking about the pop songs now.
Yeah, the pop tunes.
Okay.
They don't suit me. They're great pop tunes. Okay, they really are. But they suit the Beatles. You know, they suit the Bee Gees.
Mm-hmm.
They suit Van Morrison. They suit like all kinds of other artists.
Right.
And I either have to sell them to other artists or find some band of young people and say, here's a bunch of tunes, you do them.
Have you had any feelers or tried any feelers on that? Or you kind of?
I haven't really gone about it.
Okay.
But that's what I have to do.
Well, okay. So what about, and maybe I'm wrong here, but the way I kind of inferred from re-listening to our first interview was you kind of implied that you do have a pretty extensive backlog of other tracks that would be more like Frank Marino or Mahogany Rush type tracks. Is that true or not?
No, I don't have a whole lot of stuff.
Okay, so you don't have like a backlog of tape that is filled with. Okay, all right.
No, there's a few things. There's a few jams, 2-track jams on the floor, like stuff like that.
Okay.
But not multi-track that could be mixed. There's a couple, there's a couple of little things, but not a whole lot.
I see.
I might be able to scrape up an album worth.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you feel at this stage, you're 70, you said you're going to be 71. Do you kind of feel that in many respects, the creative urge to write isn't there anymore like it used to be?
No, it's still there. It's still there. I pick up the guitar every day and invent new stuff. It doesn't always get recorded.
Right. Do you carry?
Recorded in my head.
Do you have a Do you have a smartphone?
No.
You're on a flip phone still?
I'm on a regular landline.
Oh, you're on a landline, but okay, so you don't have a smartphone, so obviously you don't record your voice memos like I do, with a guitar.
No, I don't. Well, I have a smartphone that's my daughter's
that
I put in the car.
Oh, when you're driving.
When I need to be able to have a phone in the car.
I gotcha.
I don't use it for texting and stuff like that, although Zakk has texted me on it.
Okay. I texted you on it, and after I sent the text, I'm like, oh, maybe I should have done that. But now that explains why he never got back to me. Your daughter got it and was like, who's this weirdo? Probably. What's this weirdo saying? Hey, Frank, it's Jeff from Gas Mask. You got to come on again. And big thanks to Ryan to connecting you to me after I think my emails got caught in purgatory there. Man, it's always a thrill to talk to you, but let's transition here. Oh, I did want to ask one other quick thing. Did you ever do anything with the acoustic as the main instrument versus the electric? And okay, never did. Because it's one of the
closest I came to that was Mahogany Rush 4.
I was gonna say there does seem to sound like there's some at least simulated acoustic. Are you actually playing some backing acoustic stuff, strumming or whatever on there? Or
yeah, like on Mahogany Rush 4.
Okay, that's okay. So let's transition quick into what I called the God thing. Tell me a little bit about this spiritual awakening sort of thing that slowly developed with you.
So long ago.
Yeah.
Like you have to understand that the way that I look at the God thing is the way I look at things that are to me objectively true.
Okay.
And what does that mean, objectively true?
Well, it's
like the multiplication table.
Right. Objective means there's no room for, I guess, debate or no room.
It doesn't require me to agree with it.
Right. Right.
It's not subjective. So the multiplication table is a really great example of something that's objectively true.
Right.
Because it doesn't require you to believe in it for it to work.
Okay.
It just is what it is.
Yeah,
2 makes 4 whether you believe it or you don't believe it.
Right, that's the law. That's the law of what the
So to me, God is objectively true.
When did that hit you?
The way I look at that. Well, because if you think about it, okay, if you just think about it this way, we're not talking about the God of me or the God of you or the God of whoever.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it logically, like, that's a word that we use. It's like an honorific. It's not somebody's name, right? When we say God, what are we talking about?
Good question.
We're talking about that which has nothing higher.
Right.
That's what we're talking about, right? Whether we believe it or we don't, that's what we mean by that word, right?
Right.
Because that word is different in different languages, but it always means the same thing. It means that which has nothing higher. Well, it occurred to me that if there was ever such a thing that had nothing higher, right?
Mm-hmm.
That thing would have to, by definition, by logic, be true. Because if it was false, it was only because it had something higher than it that made it false.
Okay.
So once you find the thing that's the highest, it's got to be true, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it occurred to me that you can't say logically there is no truth, because you'd have to be telling the truth to be believed.
Wow.
So since you can't logically say there is no truth and be right, you have to take the word no away. And the only thing left is there is truth. And if there is truth, there is God.
When you
Now, from that point, you can start to say what God is or who God is, and start to argue about all that other stuff.
Right.
But to someone who claims atheism, there's no getting away from the fact that there is truth somewhere. There is ultimate truth. And so, because you can't say there is no truth, because you have to be telling the truth to be right.
Wow, that's some pretty,
right?
Yeah, it's an interesting logical.
So there has to be truth, and so there has to be what we call God, which is the ultimate thing that has nothing higher, which is truth. From that point, you can start to derive stories. Who is God? Where is God? All that other stuff. For me, it's Christ.
Okay. Was your family pretty devout?
Reasonably,
mm-hmm.
But I didn't get there because of that.
Okay.
Because when I was young, I was against it.
Okay.
I was a hippie.
Mm-hmm.
Hippies were not into that.
Right.
Hippies were into Buddhism and
spiritualism.
And trying to say spiritual and all that stuff,
Right.
But I read all the books and did all the things necessary that you had to do if you were a hippie.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, I came back to the Bible. Because I found that in that particular book, as opposed to every other book I read, and I read a lot, from the Bhagavad Gita to the Tibetan Book of the Dead, you name it,
mm-hmm.
I found that in that one book, it wasn't mealy-mouthed. It didn't try to give you both ways. It said, here's what it is, and whether you like it or you're not. It talked objectively.
Okay. Back to that.
It didn't say, and you can also believe this. And if you don't like that, you can have this. It wasn't like a buffet table.
Right.
Where you could pick from the choicest morsels and leave the ones you didn't like. It sort of forced you to say, take it or leave it. And that made me angry at first. I didn't like the idea that it said, take it or leave it. But then I realized that that's what truth does. That's what objective truth does. That's what the multiplication table does. It says take it or leave it.
Yeah,
that's what gravity does. It says don't walk off the roof, you're going to fall.
Yeah, it's true. That's a good point. I never thought of it that way, yeah.
So things that seem to be true, objectively true, like the law of gravity while you're on Earth, or the second law of thermodynamics, which is entropy, all the things we call laws, Ohm's law, electronics,
mm-hmm.
all the things that we call laws, Pythagoras' law of a hypotenuse and a right angle.
Pythagorean theorem, yeah.
They all tell you this is what it is, whether you like it or not. That seems to be a common denominator among things that are true.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. But how do you reconcile that there are so many gods?
Well, I reconcile that by saying that everybody realizes that there's something. So they invent, in many cases, they invent one that more suits what they like.
Okay.
In other words, they become God to the thing rather than become subservient to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like people don't want to use algebra, but algebra is logical and works, right? So they'll invent some other way of trying to come up with an answer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. And so people come up with their own gods. But at the end of the day, are they right? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I just know that this Christ, this one man, who basically said, here's the way things are, whether you like it or you don't, and he died for it. and so did a lot of other people. And I don't know of too many people that would die for a known lie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Speaking of death, let me ask.
Yeah.
Let me ask. This is a question I ask a lot of my guests, more or less, because some of it's because of some of the stuff I'm facing privately, but which we haven't really gotten into, and I'm not going to here on this public forum. But are you? We're both well past the middle of our lives, obviously.
Oh yeah, our planes are landing.
Yeah,
They
that's.
already told us to stow the tray tables and we put the chair in the upright position. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting analogy. That's an interesting
Yeah, the
analogy.
movie's over.
Let me ask you this: do you ever have fears of death?
No.
Okay.
No, I believe too much in the objectivity
Of your
God.
faith. Of your faith.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To think that there's any kind of problem with that. Like I kind of have this whole idea of what happens,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have any real fear of it. It's going to be something that's going to absolutely happen. See what I mean? How there's like nothing you can do about it?
Well, that's true. There is nothing you can do about it. It's going to happen to all of us. Yeah. Yeah, that's a truth. That's a truth. Yep.
And so the truth is, here's the truth in a nutshell. I, Frank, don't have a soul. I am a soul that has a body.
Uh-huh.
So what constitutes Frank is the soul.
Right.
Not the body. The body gets old and dies.
Right.
But what constitutes who I am is that thing we call a soul or a spirit or whatever you want to call it.
Okay, so let me interject for 1 sec there. Is a soul or a spirit or whatever you want to call it, the Frank, is that an energy field, an energy source, or is there something?
Life.
Okay, it's the life force.
It's life itself.
Interesting.
What is life? It's a force, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's life itself.
Interesting. Yeah.
When Jesus says he died so that you could have life, sounds like a weird statement. I'm going to die so you can have life.
Yeah, it's kind of antithetical.
That sounds like a weird statement.
It's antithetical, right?
As weird as it sounds, it's putting a value on life.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of antithetical, right? In a lot of ways.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's putting a value on life. It's not putting a value on death.
Ah, it's true. Yeah.
So the real value is life. So if the real value is life and I'm alive, then the value is the fact that I'm alive. That life force is what ends up. The body dies, but the life force is still the life force.
Continues. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah,
Interesting.
So it's just I happen to believe Jesus. I just don't think that he was a liar, and I don't think he was crazy. So he's either a liar, or he's a lunatic, or he's really the Lord,
or he's a hippie.
And here's what you have to ask yourself: if at the end of the day Christ is not true, okay,
Mm-hmm.
then it largely makes no difference. It's unimportant. But if at the end of the day he is true, then it's probably the only important thing. Everything it can't be is mildly important.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying there. I totally get it. Yeah.
It's one or the other.
I had never framed it that way in my head. Yeah, because it is a question I think about. I would say I've said I'm an atheist, but I probably am more like a strong agnostic because that's just kind of in my nature.
Most people are.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something else too. People that come and tell you I have faith and I'm completely full of faith and I have absolute faith, what they really have is hope.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Okay, they have hope.
Yeah.
Because here's what faith really is, the feeling of it.
Mm-hmm.
You feel that every day when the sun goes down or comes up.
That there's going to be another day.
It's an It doesn't amaze you the sun will come up tomorrow.
Right.
You just know it will. You just know it went down. It's just the truth. You're not amazed by the multiplication table. It just
Interesting.
is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's what real faith is. You have real faith in the multiplication table.
Right.
It doesn't have to have bells ring and you go, wow, I feel amazing.
Yeah.
It just is. So my faith in Christ just is.
Is your family, like your kids, are they pretty devout as well?
Yeah, devout's a weird word.
Okay.
Devout implies some kind of, always constant prayer and
Like fanaticism or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we use devout in another way, the way I've just tried to describe it,
Mm-hmm.
as just believing in something to the point where it just is true, then yes, they are.
Okay. Yeah. I completely get that.
There's
That's
no
interesting.
real questioning of it. It's like, hey, it's true. Like, there's a multiplication table, and there's a God, and there's a Jesus, and blah, 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 and it doesn't have to amaze you.
Yeah, it's a universal sort of truism,
Right.
I guess. Yeah. Interesting,
Right.
man. Interesting. You go to church every Sunday, I guess?
No.
No? Okay. Interesting.
No, I mean, I go once in a while.
Yeah.
I want to go.
You don't feel the need to have to be there all the time.
No.
Yeah.
People do not go to church to pray or to belong or to do anything. They go to church in order to receive certain sacraments that Jesus asked us to take.
You're Catholic? You're Catholic?
I was both Catholic, but I'm Orthodox.
You're Orthodox. What's the difference there? Explain that to me.
Orthodox is a more original Catholic.
Oh, okay.
In the first 1,000 years, from 0 till 1054,
Okay.
there was only one church. In 1054, it separated into Roman Catholic and the original church.
Okay, so Orthodox is kind of the
1,000 years where it was all called Catholic.
okay.
Catholic means universal.
Right. Okay. Wow. Interesting. I actually did not know that. I never knew I never looked into the derivation of that because, like, my grandmother was quote unquote devout. I mean, she was very much a church goer on every Sunday, and she actually traveled to the Vatican in late 70s, I think, maybe 77, 78, something like that. But she wasn't like you aren't either. She wasn't a holy roller. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
That was shoving it down everybody's throat.
I don't bother to do that, nor do I bother to shove down the multiplication table.
Yeah, right. 2 + 2 is 4, damn it.
Yeah,
Believe it. Right?
And I often say as a joke, when people get mad about, because some people that don't want to believe, they get mad about that belief. They get angry.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true. That's just a myth and blah, blah, blah. And they get all obfuscated about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I say to them?
I'm curious.
I say, how come you don't get mad about Santa Claus? You think that's not true. How come you don't get mad about the Easter Bunny or the Tooth Fairy? I don't see you pulling your hair out of your head and steam coming out of your ears over that.
Well,
But it does over Jesus.
but you know what I think what it boils down to a lot though is that relationship, air quotes around that word, that relationship is probably the most private thing you have in your existence, whether you believe or don't believe. And so I think unfortunately sometimes there are people that are Christians that really feel it's their duty to tell you, to judge you and to tell you why, because you say
then they're doing it wrong.
exactly, yeah. And I think that's why
they're missing the point.
Yeah.
The point, look, all I know is this. There is a God, and I'm not him.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that.
I would disagree, Frank. I think you're a guitar god, but you know what I mean. I digress. You know what I mean?
It's like, didn't he say, be like a child?
Mm-hmm.
And you get to heaven, be like a child?
Like the
What
wonderment.
does a child know?
Yeah,
Like
having
a
the
child-
wonderment.
You think a child has all the knowledge and the answers and all, what we try to have, and answer this question and answer that question.
Well, and the cynicism,
All that narcissism.
and the cynicism too, that you grow.
Yeah, and
You
cynicism.
you know, as you get older, you get more cynical. Or at least I do, anyway. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if we could just be like children, right?
Mm-hmm.
We would have no need for any rules.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. Very interesting thought. I had never kind of couched it that way. That's very cool. You know, it's I had mentioned to John, I'm like, I think I want to talk to Frank a little bit about the concept of God, and he was like, yeah, man, you should do it. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm scared. I don't want to tell him that I'm like a borderline atheist. But the thing that I think I've garnered from you in our 3 times that we've talked extensively is that you're not that kind of a judgmental person. It's kind of antithetical to who you are.
If I would be that way, I would be unchristian.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, my own hero told me that.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's super cool. All right, well, look, man, we're at 2 hours. I don't want to keep you all day. But we'll go. Maybe we'll circle back around to this at some point down the road a little deeper.
Sure.
But you've given me a lot to think about, and I appreciate that. And I also appreciate the fact that, and I kind of knew there was not going to be any judgment about that, which is awesome. Let's recap real fast here. The DVD Blu-ray combo is still for sale, right? You have them in stock. You can get that.
Americans can get them, yes.
Okay. You can get that at Frank Marino and Mahogany Rush .net, I believe it is. That's in the description there.
/DVD.
Yeah, and I need to actually link. I totally forgot to do that in the description. I need to link our other 2 interviews from last year and then 2023. I will say I was much less nervous these last 2 to talk to you, because the first time I talked to you, I just was so giddy about the fact that I was getting to talk to you. I was like motor mouth. I never shut the hell up. I apologize for that.
Jeff, you can take my number and call me anytime.
Oh, I got your number. I got your number.
You don't need an interview.
Well, I know I got you. I appreciate that, but I do know not to text you on this number. So
no, don't text me.
yeah.
You're gonna get an answer.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. The other thing to mention is that right now,
one of those guys like the rest of the guys in my book.
Cool. I'm very honored to be that guy. You know what would really blow my mind, and I really don't, I don't know what the reality of it would be, but it would be super freaking cool to jam with you, man.
I'll do that too.
That would be mind blowing. If I ever get up that way, I'm gonna make sure I bring my guitars along, and we'll jam out a little bit, and I'll show you how you've influenced me.
Give it a chance. You'll see. I'm just a normal guy like you.
You are a normal guy, and that's what's great. And doing this YouTube channel has been really one of the coolest things in my life, in that I've gotten to meet and talk to guys that are my heroes. And I still haven't gotten Alex and Getty on yet. That might be a tough one to crack, but I'm working on it. But I
shouldn't be.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. And I think if I get to the right person that gets me to the right person, I know a lot of people. I know several people that actually have worked with Alex. So if I slowly, well, it's not slowly, if I delicately.
Ask yourself this question, okay? It's hypothetical, but ask yourself this question. If Alex wasn't Alex and Getty wasn't Getty.
Right.
Couldn't you just call them up and say, I want to talk to you?
Yeah. Theoretically, yes. Sure, if they were just dudes, right? Well, they're not.
The way I see it, man. Like,
they're.
Everybody can talk to me.
Yeah, I think there's a little difference in, though, that there's a little bit of a wall around them, not necessarily of their making,
that's ridiculous.
but not of their making. I don't really think it's of their making, Frank. I think it's more of the industry making sort of thing, that Do you?
I don't agree with that. There's an old expression: "The fish stinks from the head down."
Well, I've met both of them, and they are kind. Really, Alex is as goofy in real life.
He should be more than willing to take your phone call and talk to you the way I'm talking.
Well, we'll work on that. I know he's doing stuff with Mojo Tone. He just put a pedal out, so that might be he's in competition with you, Frank. Just saying.
Yeah.
Although his thing is very
I designed mine
well, yeah, and he didn't. But
and build them.
there's also another big difference is his stuff is impulse responses, i.e., the stuff you don't like, which is the fake stuff. You know what I mean, kind of, or whatever you want to call it. But no, it's this doing this has really given me an incredible opportunity, and I'll close with this. I just did want to say that Frank Marino audio is linked in the description. There are plenty of sound samples on your website for the pedals. You got the 3 new ones we talked about: the Crying Moon, the Universe, the Sus 4, and you've got 3 new ones coming out. What are the names again?
The Finish Line, which is the EQ.
Right.
The Answer, which is the Echo. And the
Tremolo.
The Vibrato. Yeah.
Right. What's that?
The Novelty.
Novelty. That's it. Novelty. So, and they're going to be rolling out fairly soon, you said?
Yeah, I told Ryan just last night we've got to put them on the page.
Okay. Just a note to American buyers, though. There's some tariff stuff going on there, so you got to be aware of that you may have to wait a while until...
May have to wait until they sort this stuff out.
Or call Donald Trump and give him hell. I don't know. Whatever. Listen, man, it's been a pleasure talking to you, as it always is. It's wonderful to catch up with you. And I told you this when we first met. When we met over the phone. If you had told 13-year-old me that I was going to get to talk to you, let alone meet up and be in your phone book and be a guy that you trust to intimately speak to, I would have said you were absolutely out of your mind. I'd have been like, nah, that's not real. Because
call me anytime, particularly if you want to discuss that other subject.
Yeah. I would, because I'm facing some pretty not so good stuff health-wise that we haven't really gotten into. So I will give you a call.
And give me a shout about that.
I will, man. Yeah, anyways, everybody go check out Frank's stuff. If you don't know who Frank Marino is and you're stumbling onto this, which I kind of doubt, but if you don't, you got to go listen to this guy play guitar, man. There's very few guys that I have a Mount Rushmore of guitar players. Alex is on there. Rick Emmett's on there. Frank Marino's on there. It's so weird. It's always Canadian guys. It's all these Canadian dudes. But
we try harder,
I guess. Or maybe it's just because you're nicer. I don't know. But yeah. And
it's because we play hockey.
It might be. Did you play hockey as a kid?
Yeah. Well,
Did you?
I tried to.
Yeah. Were you not that athletic, or?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I tried to be, but I was always too short to play like basketball or be a football guy. And I was the track guy. I was like the 3rd fastest guy or the 4th fastest guy. It was like there was always those 2 or 3 guys that would beat me in races, at meets and things like that. But and soccer, I had 2 left feet, so I get it. I hear it, man. Frank, thanks so much. And again, thank Ryan for hooking me up with you. I will call you soon to kind of discuss some of that other stuff. We'll just have a chat like 2 dudes. So,
all right, man.
All right, brother. Have a great afternoon.
Take
Okay.
care.
Okay. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Sorry. Oh man, I'm sorry. I missed this. I'm gonna actually. Can I do this? Let me see. Oh, hold on. Let me see if I can do this real quick. I need to fix my mic here because I had it laying down. Hopefully everybody could hear that good. I forgot the fan was on initially, and that made it a little bit difficult. My apologies there. I also apologize for that idiot that likes to shit all over my chats here the last couple months. Really just ignorant, man. Just totally ignorant. He thinks he's funny. He thinks, I don't know what the deal is with the guy. He's just goofy, and I'm not going to name him by name. Thank you, Rick, for when you were in here running interference for me. I really appreciate it. Couple upcoming things. The 21st, Sunday, I have The two guys that wrote this book, Rotting Ways to Misery, The History of Finnish Death Metal, coming on Marcus Makkanen and Kim Stromshold. I'm probably saying their names wrong. It's going to be 11:30 in the, I'm sorry, 12:30 in the morning, because they're 7 hours ahead in Finland. We're going to talk Finnish death metal. That's going to be really cool. It's a great book, man. And if you don't know much about the history of Finnish death metal, but you like some Finnish death metal, man, there's so many killer bands. All sound very unique and different, from bands like Demolich and Swallow the Sun to Demigod to Convulse to Impale Nazarene. I mean, there's so many killer bands in there. If you like this kind of stuff, this would be a good time. Marcus actually was a singer for Hooded Menace, and that's how I fell into him and realized, oh, that's the same guy that wrote this book. I got to reach out to him, and we've developed an online kind of cool chemistry here that's going to be fun to explore on that day. I'm trying to get an interview with Carl Sanders at the Nile gig, which is local to me here, next Friday. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I'm going to try to make it happen. If not, I'll probably have Carl on a little later once I meet him through some common people that we know. Also, I've got V Santura of Triptychon coming on. We haven't firmed up a date yet. That probably towards the end of the month. And then some regular stuff that we're going to be doing, like a deep dive on Santana with my buddy Louie. I think that's going to be on the last weekend of September. I think we're going to try and sneak in a Electric Meditations episode 3 with Louie, his buddy, and my buddy Mad Mark, and hopefully Stunty. I'm not sure that Stunty's going to join. If he doesn't, I'll have Rick or one of my other buddies. I want to keep it to just 4 people, so it's not too crazy. Want to thank Frank for such an incredible conversation. He's such a good man. I really, really, really respect that guy highly, and appreciate him as a human being highly, because you don't find a lot of guys like him out there in this world anymore, sadly. So I think that's it. Oh, Dennis and I are going to do Forgotten Metal Gems. It's probably going to dip into October. I am hopefully going to try to do some shows next week. It really depends. I was in the ER last week again, and yesterday I met with my GP, and he kind of told me that there's nothing they can do to help me at this point. There's no real treatment options. Trying to get into a hospital up in New York, but I don't think it's going to fly. I just don't think it's going to happen. So we'll see. I'm going to try and keep going as best I can, but I live one day at a time anymore. And so all these people, or this guy that keeps coming in here telling me to get a job, it's funny because he always seems to be shooting videos in some gazebo somewhere in Omaha, drinking beer in the middle of the afternoon. So, get a job? Me get a job? Okay. I didn't get disability by accident, dude, and I paid into that system a long time. So there's that. So anyway, we're going to move on from that. Frank, thank you again, sir. And thanks to everybody that was here today. Appreciate it.